Hey everyone, I just thought I'd do a quick review of this Bronica camera that I acquired some time ago. It's basically very similar to a Hasselblad type camera that you may have seen or heard about before. And this particular model is SQ-A. SQ stands for square, and the A is basically the model. There was also AI, and I believe there were some letters that came later. There were just variations on this camera. This is a modular type camera. It's a medium format. It shoots 120 film. The reason why it's modular is because everything is basically, you can take it off, you can put other things on, like different size lenses, different type of viewfinder. You can also do different film backs. You can put a different type of grip on, and so on. So there's a lot of options that you have with this. It's kind of fun to shoot with. It can be a little challenging because there are so many little mechanical things that have to fall in place for it to even fire off a shot. So sometimes it may leave you baffled because you're like, what's going on? I think I should be able to take a picture, but for whatever reason it's not working. So I'll talk a little bit about that. So in essence, let's just start with lenses. You can have any kind of different lens you want. 80 millimeter. It's about 40 millimeter equivalent in a 35 millimeter world. That's what I have on right now. It's a f2.8 lens. So the aperture ring is just your basic aperture ring like you would see on the other cameras, and same thing with the focus ring there. The way you take it off is there's a little lever here. You press the lever down and you attempt to take it off. And as a matter of fact, you can't take it off right now because shutters are inside these lenses, and because you want to have the shutter cocked at the same time that the film's ready to take a picture, these two have to be in sync. And so in order to keep them in sync, you want to have the shutter cocked in the lens before you take the lens off. So the way you do that is you just advance the mechanism one step forward, and now it should let me take it off, which it did. So behind there you have a mirror, and mirror will flap up and down when you take a picture. As with any other DSLR type camera, the trigger is right there. So you can also lock it. There's a little spinny ring there so that you don't fire it off when you don't intend to. Since we're already talking about mirror, there's also a N for normal setting, or a single mirror up or a continuous mirror up option on this camera. So when I, as you heard, moved this to S, it actually took the mirror out of the way, so that basically when you take a picture, it doesn't flap the mirror up and down and cause the photograph to potentially get some blur in it because of the mirror. Otherwise, if it's in the end position, the mirror is down and it will actually come down the next time we take a photograph. Okay, so I'll put the lens back on. The way you do that is you align the red dot on the lens with the orangish red dot on the camera itself. You put it in, you twist it to the right, and it locks in place. Next, we'll talk a little bit about the shutter selector. It lets you select shutter speeds from 500th of a second to 1/8 of a second, or 8 seconds, I'm sorry, which is pretty cool because it actually perhaps reduces the times when you feel like you might need a remote shutter release. So it just depends what kind of photography you do, obviously. In order for a shutter to work, the camera does require a battery, and it's a 6-volt battery. You can look up online and see what type from Duracell or Energizer will go in there. It does last a little longer than you would with the other system, because that's really the only thing it's using it for, is to run the shutter. So moving on from there, we're onto the film back, and this little button here will actually let you release the film back. So you press and hold that pressed, and then from the bottom you can take the film back off. So let me get the camera out of the way and just talk about film back a little bit. So film back is basically going to have this little metallic plate to protect the film from being exposed by negligence or by some other means. And obviously now that we have the whole film back off, it is extremely important to protect the film, because if it was loaded with film and this was out, then it would expose the film. So the way you basically open this up to replace the film is you squeeze these two knobs on top that have these little arrows, and once you do that, that will actually pop out of the way, and then you'll be able to remove what I call an internal or a cassette. And so basically you would put the new film in here, you would feed it so that the film is facing this way, so that light hitting it from this direction will actually take the picture. You run it across this little roller here and onto the take-up spool. Once you're done with that, you would use this little winder in the arrow direction that it's shown, like so, and you're going to keep moving the film manually until you see the line on the film line up with the little red triangle that you can see right there. Once that's done, you want to put it back in, because then you're going to be ready to wind it using the camera winder until it's ready for its first shot. The way that you know which direction to go is you look in this little ISO selector and look at your cassette and look at these little indicator for the number of shots you have left. Make sure both of them are on top. You put this back in, press, and shut. Okay, so now your film back is ready to go. You can have 2 or 3 of these ready to go, and then you can have color and black and white film or whatever. So the way you reattach this is there's little knobs up here on top, and there are little holes that they go into, so you slide that in there. Once you're ready, you're going to do the bottom second, and you're just going to press in until you hear that clicking sound that basically the whole thing is now in place. The film back needs to stay in place until, or this little metal thing, you want to pull this out of the way when you're ready to take a shot. If you have this in, it will not actually let you take a picture. By the way, there's a little circle and a little dot inside of it, and this has a little circle and a dot inside of it as well. So this is how you have to put it back in. If you actually try to put it in backwards like this, then that's going to cause all kinds of problems for you. And I speak from experience. Okay, so then moving on to here, the only other thing that I want to mention is basically here you have a lever that allows you to do a single shot, which is what you're usually going to shoot with, or a multi-exposure, which is accomplished by pulling this down. You want to have the camera in this position when there is no film in it if you want to take a test shot, because what this does is it cocks the shutter without moving the film forward. So if you have this out, we should now be able to take a shot, which we did. Last thing I want to talk about is the viewfinder. It's pretty cool. I actually like it because it's much more bright than what I have on one of my other cameras. Unfortunately, right now I can't see much through it, but the way you can take this off is there's a lever similar to the one for the lens on the other side. You press and hold that down, and you just pull back on this, and it just pops right off. So you can get another one of these, or you can do something else in there if you want. This also lets you see the ground glass, and there's a little LED light in here, which I want to talk about a little bit. So the idea here is that the sound that you hear in the camera may not actually be the correct sound from when the shutter starts and it's firing. So what you got to do is wait until this light blinks once, which means that your actual exposure is over. So I'm going to set the camera 1 second, I'm going to wind it forward, and we're going to take that picture, and you're going to hear first a clicking sound, and then right after that you're going to see the red light light up. That is actually your sign that the exposure is over. So, and there was that second click with the blink. That's actually telling you that the exposure is done. So if you're shooting, I don't know, 250th of a second or whatever, it's probably not important, but if you start doing even a 30th or a 60th of a second, those kinds of things will become more important. Also, there's just like in most of these other similar models, there's a little lever there, and when you pull on it, it will actually create make a magnifier come out. And this is really useful to look through when you're about to ready to take a shot, because that magnifier is going to help you see how to focus a little better. There are also different diopters you can buy still even today, and you can adjust it so you can do it without your glasses. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much the super basic of a Zenza SQ-A. And if you visit my website, there's some work that I've shot with it there on my blog, so take a look, and if you have any questions, please post them on YouTube, and I'll see what I can do to answer them. Have a good day.